Marijuana is certainly a hot topic these days. There's something about it in the newspaper nearly every week, and lots of opinions being voiced. Today I'm going to share with you some of the things known about the drug. Specifically, I will be focusing on the changing landscape of marijuana today, the products, trends, and public health and safety data from Maine and from Colorado, who legalized marijuana in 2012. The goal is that you'll walk away with a more up-to-date picture of marijuana today. There are certainly things we don't know, and things we are learning more about all the time, and I want to acknowledge that. While I've been talking, you've had a minute to look at our title slide, Marijuana and the New Millennium. As you can see, this title is written on an e-reader. That was done intentionally as a way to show that we are doing things differently now. Of course, we still read books and watch television, but many people aren't reading physical books or viewing programming on a traditional television screen. As you know, the way we do a lot of things is changing, including the way marijuana is sold, bought, and used. This probably looks familiar to some of us. The old bag phone, cell phones. Did anybody have one of these? What could you do with one of these? Make calls? And of course, here is today's cell phone, which looks and works much more differently. Many of us who remember using the old bag cell phones probably couldn't have imagined how far cell phone technology would advance in such a short time. What can you do with one of these? Well, almost anything. Here is a picture of yesterday's marijuana. This might look familiar to some folks. And it's kind of like the old bag cell phones. This is a first look at the differences between yesterday's and today's marijuana. The THC content in the plant itself. In a 2014 independent lab test of the legalized recreational marijuana, let's call it retail marijuana, in Colorado, conducted by a company called Charas Scientific, they found an average of 20 to 30% THC in the samples. That's a drastic increase from the average THC levels in the 70s. As you may know, THC, or tetrahydrocannabinol, is the compound that acts on the brain to produce a high. And there are far higher concentrations of THC in today's marijuana. There's reason for concern for these higher THC levels. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, higher concentrations of THC in marijuana could mean a greater chance of an adverse or unpredictable reaction, especially in new users. And for frequent users, it may mean a greater risk of addiction. THC concentrations can be manipulated by marijuana growers who crossbreed strains for increased potency. The next difference between yesterday's and today's marijuana is the vast array of new products, particularly the food products being mass-produced, marketed, and commercially sold. Pot brownies are old news. Medibles and extracts are the marijuana of the new millennium, including candy and other products. And these products often look quite similar to popular items. This is what today's marijuana looks like. There is no marijuana in these, but the ones containing marijuana look quite similar. Here's an example of one of these new products. These are Dixie's Elixirs, THC-infused sodas that come in a variety of flavors. Dixie's Elixirs tagline is quite interestingly, the future of cannabis. It's also worth mentioning that these companies have beautiful, professional, modern websites and marketing materials. The sodas range in price from $10 to $15 each. These are mints from the same company, Dixie's Elixirs. Dixie's Elixirs products are available in Colorado. This is the Rookie Cookie, an edible with a lower THC content. There's a big trend toward lighter choices as the new industry tries to appeal to newer customers, which equates to new users. The Growing Kitchen's tagline is, "Choose health, choose herbs." Another popular Colorado company, Medically Correct, has a product line called Incredibles. They are THC-infused chocolate bars. They make these for both medical and retail consumers, and there is some variance in the THC content. The medical products generally have higher THC levels, while the retail products have lower levels. However, each of the bars is different in their content. Let's take a closer look at one of these. Just to give you an idea about approximate size, the Incredibles Mile High Mint Bar is just a little bit smaller than a Hershey bar. And this chocolate bar has the THC content equivalent of 35 joints from the 1970s, which was about 5 milligrams per joint. You can buy a Mile High Mint Bar in Colorado for about $18. The state of Colorado is now recommending a 10 milligram serving size, so this candy bar would have about 17 servings under that recommendation. And in case you are wondering, yes, you can still buy rolled joints, and they go for about $5 a piece. These are gummies, are also from the same company. They make adult retail use as well as medical use gummies. The legal age to buy retail use products in Colorado is 21. And there's even cannabis cotton candy. This costs about $12. The company Weebee has created a marijuana-infused version of a pixie stick. There's 50 milligrams of THC per straw. These are Chiba Chews, about the size of a piece of bubble gum. Chiba Chews retail for about $8 a piece. In case you are interested in how to make them, you are in luck. They were kind enough to put a minute-long video on their website showing how they were made. It's up next. You can see the marketing behind some of these products. This video reminds me of something that could be taken straight out of Willy Wonka. Here's a screenshot from that video. I wanted you to note the wholesome and organic ingredients pictured, sending the message that this product is healthy and good for you. Now let's move beyond edibles to other derivatives of marijuana and delivery methods. Because the products don't stop at edibles. A form of marijuana called wax is being created via a process of butane gas extraction. It's an extremely potent form of marijuana, also known as earwax, or dabs. This marijuana concentrate is more powerful, far more powerful, because it allegedly leads to a quicker, stronger high. Wax is said to be the strongest form of marijuana on the market. Wax is also called dabs, honey oil, butter, and 710, which is the word oil viewed upside down. It has an 80% THC level. After the wax has been extracted from the marijuana, a dab is placed into a bong and smoked, just like regular marijuana. Making wax is extremely dangerous and can be explosive. In fact, all over the country, people have been exploding kitchens and basements trying to make their own butane hash oil. This bundle of products from Dr. Dabber is made for use with marijuana wax and retails for $69.95. Just a few months ago, it sold for $44.95. so you can see how demand for the product is driving up the price. The marketing summary for this product promotes this kit as big on flavor and small on compromise, featuring the same high-quality components incorporated into a slimmer, stealthier design. The Dr. Dabber Light Vaporizer Pen can go anywhere you need to be. Now that we've covered some edibles and wax, I'd like you to know about something called vaping, which is done with vaporizers and vape pens, also known as e-cigarettes. Many are familiar with these e-devices for nicotine delivery. You can purchase these at most convenience stores. You can actually vape a lot of things, and marijuana vaping is very popular. 1 out of 3 reviews on Leafly, the Yelp of the pot world, is about vaping marijuana. Rolling Stone magazine called vaping the iPod of getting baked. If you think about it, when the iPod came on the scene, it fundamentally changed the way we buy and listen to music, just as vape pens and vaporizers are changing the way tobacco and other drugs are used. It's modern, it's high-tech, it's a stealthy way to get high in almost any location. The vapor coming from the device doesn't even have much odor. It's truly marijuana in the new millennium. And kids are catching on to vaping quickly. Regular cigarette use among youth is declining, but e-cigarette use is increasing. If you talk with youth, most will probably tell you that smoking is really bad for you, and most will also say they think smoking or chewing tobacco is gross. However, there isn't the same stigma attached to these vape pens as cigarettes, and there certainly is a cool factor associated with using high-tech devices. In 2013, more than 250,000 middle and high school students never smoked regular cigarettes, but had used e-cigarettes, 3 times as many as in 2011. Here are some vape pens. As you can see, it's just the same old tactics with a new product and a new drug here. Just like tobacco companies did, marijuana companies are appealing to youth using popular brands and celebrities. These vaping devices from a company called Grenco Science, many of the products are collaborations between celebrities and the companies such as Snoop Dogg and DGK, which is a skateboarding company. Here are a few more products from Grenco Science, a Hall of Fame line of products for sports fans. When marijuana becomes a legal, profit-driven business, the door is open to commercialization. And for this reason, I think it is most appropriate to use the term retail rather than recreational marijuana. When we think of recreation, shooting hoops, hiking a mountain, paddling around in a canoe, skiing the slopes comes to mind, not marijuana use. This infographic shows the number of retail outlets for different businesses in Colorado. Most would agree that there seems to be a Starbucks or McDonald's almost everywhere, especially in cities. In Colorado, there are more medical marijuana dispensaries and retail outlets for marijuana than the number of Starbucks and McDonald's combined. Commercialization brings many things, like legitimacy. These are some companies attempting to legitimize marijuana as medicine through branding. Note the medical symbols and official-looking seals. With commercialization also comes more sophisticated operations among companies that sell marijuana-based products, including marketing, legal, and scientific departments in those companies. A few years ago, Chris Folkert was selling vape pens out of the trunk of his car. Today, his company, Grenco Science, the company who manufactures the vape pens that we showed you earlier, has 6,000 square feet of prime real estate in central Los Angeles. Commercialization also brings more access points to the drug. Retail stores, delivery service, and even apps that show you where to get marijuana. If I gave you $5 and asked you to go pick me up a gallon of milk, anywhere, let's say Presque Isle Caribou, could you do that pretty easily? It should be fairly easy, as there are about 30 places to buy a gallon of milk in those areas. I use this geography because it is roughly the same square mileage, 144 square miles, as the city of Denver, which is about 155 square miles. And while I can't tell you how many places you can buy milk in Denver, I can tell you there are over 300 marijuana retailers in that city. Another example of the kinds of things that commercialization brings, more promotion. This is a company called Travel High Colorado. You can create a custom highcation. In other words, you can spend your vacation getting high. And when we have commercialization, we have mass production. Dixie's Elixirs bought a machine in 2014 that allows them to bottle 1,000 bottles an hour, as opposed to 850 bottles a day that they did previously. And we have more potent products. The focus of these companies is more use and more frequent use. Tetra Labs' website states that you can feel the effects of their pure gold oil in less than a minute, and that one drop can last a long time if smoked properly. And again, better drug delivery devices like the vape pens. And commercialization isn't limited to just retail marijuana. Commercialization actually began with medical marijuana. Check out the free joint Fridays being advertised here from Green Shield Medical Marijuana Delivery in California. This is supposed to be medicine. But can you imagine walking into a pharmacy and the pharmacist offering you free Vicodin Fridays? And these dispensaries are certainly not pharmacies, as they are often being portrayed. This is a photo of the inside of a dispensary in Colorado. Just one look around and you can see this is no Rite Aid. And there are no trained pharmacists dispensing medicine here. That guy on the right is Heath Ledger as the Joker from Batman movies. And you may know Ledger died in 2008 from an accidental intoxication from prescription drugs. This is a look at one of the medical dispensaries in Maine, the Wellness Connection of Maine, which is in Ellsworth. A chalkboard with their strains of the day is hung up behind the counter. Their menu lists marijuana and flavors like pineapple chunk and Girl Scout cookies. This is part of a Bangor Daily News article about muffins being sold at the Wellness Connection of Maine. They have a contract with Slate's Restaurant and Bakery in Hallowell to offer Medibles to its 5,000 certified patients, in addition to whole flower cannabis and tinctures. Each peanut butter and chocolate chip cookie and mini loaf is equal to 4 to 8 doses of marijuana and is $12 each. Part of the reason to discuss commercialization are the similarities that can be seen in the marketing techniques deployed by the tobacco industry, particularly prior to the Master Tobacco Settlement. This could have grave public health consequences, just like Big Tobacco has. Kim Richter is a tobacco researcher who has recently done some work around this, and there are many similarities. As she says, the unregulated tobacco industry is a worldwide public health disaster. We should learn from our mistakes, not repeat them with marijuana. Altria, the parent company of Philip Morris, has purchased some marijuana-related domain names. Could they be gearing up to sell a new product? Will Big Marijuana be the new Big Tobacco? After looking at some of the new products and the way they are being packaged and marketed, it's a good time to mention the impacts to youth. Youth are receiving a lot of messages about marijuana right now. This messaging can be formal and direct, like the Chiba Chews video, marijuana is wholesome and organic and good for you. And youth also receive many informal messages when laws or societal rules change. In our state, since the legalization of medicinal marijuana, we've seen a decline in the youth perception of harm from marijuana. And you might know, just from informal discussions with youth, many don't see marijuana as a drug. They view it as a helpful medicine. This info is from the Maine Integrated Youth Health Survey, which measures youth health attitudes and behaviors over time. Now the majority of youth, 60%, don't view regular marijuana use as harmful. This is an increase of 21 percentage points since 2009. Here is a bit more data from the survey showing the relationship between perception of risk and youth use of marijuana. When students were asked how risky they felt it was to use marijuana once or twice a week, of those who did not think it was risky, 34% reported using in the past 30 days. And for students who answered that they thought it was risky, only 4% of those students used in the past 30 days. High school students who thought marijuana was not risky were almost 8 times as likely to use it. And we know that teens who use marijuana daily have some elevated risks for a number of adverse consequences in the areas of health, safety, and future success. Heavy use is linked to an increased risk of motor vehicle crashes. Nationally, in 2011, 57% of emergency department visits for illicit drug use among 12 to 24-year-olds involved marijuana. That's more than half. Using marijuana weekly or more has also been shown to double a teen's risk of depression or anxiety. Marijuana use damages teen brains and bodies in ways that can make problems for them now and in the future. Studies indicate that problems with attention, learning, memory, and processing speeds can be associated with heavy marijuana use during adolescence. The amount of tar inhaled by marijuana smokers and the level of carbon monoxide absorbed are 3 to 5 times greater than from tobacco smoke. Marijuana contains more cancer-causing chemicals than tobacco. Marijuana smokers inhale deeply and hold the smoke in their lungs longer, which may increase their risk for developing lung cancer. Recent studies have shown a link between frequent marijuana use and the occurrence of testicular cancer. Marijuana use keeps teens from doing their best in school, work, and learning new skills. This affects them for the rest of their life. Marijuana use in teens has been linked to lower academic performance and reduced job prospects. Heavy marijuana users experience attention and memory problems which last beyond the time when they are high. Studies indicate these problems can worsen with years of regular use. Teens who use marijuana are at an increased risk for addiction, which leads to health and safety risks. Research has established that marijuana is addictive and that it is 3 times more likely to lead to dependence among adolescents than adults. The risk of addiction goes from 1 in 11 overall to about 1 in 6 of those who start using marijuana in their teens. Nationally, in 2011, 872,000 people reported receiving treatment for marijuana use. Marijuana is a harmful drug. It is stronger than in the past, contains dangerous chemicals, and can be laced with other drugs. Teens who use marijuana can't know for sure what they are putting into their bodies and how it will affect them. As demonstrated in previous slides, today's marijuana is far more potent. The average THC content in marijuana has risen from under 4% in 1983 to more than 10% in 2008. Greater marijuana potency means a smaller amount can make someone higher, faster, and perhaps far more intoxicated than they can handle. Marijuana users risk exposure to dangerous pesticides, which pose a significant risk to human health. In Maine in 2015, about 1 in 5 high school students reported using marijuana within the past month. Of those students who used in the past month, about 1 in 3 used 20 times or more. Finally, I think it is important to note that all sectors of the community are needed in successful prevention work. Members of the education, law enforcement, public health, and healthcare communities are critical partners in substance abuse prevention, intervention, treatment, and recovery efforts. There is a role for everyone. You can help reduce substance abuse in your community and help to keep your communities safe, healthy, and successful. This presentation was created by Bangor Public Health and distributed by Aroostook Partners in Substance Abuse Prevention, including Aroostook Substance Abuse Prevention Drug-Free Communities, Community Voices Coalition, Healthy Aroostook, and Power of Prevention. This is Michelle Plor-Chassie of Community Voices, thanking you for your time and your interest in this important public health issue. With questions or for additional information, please contact Mark Shea of Aroostook Substance Abuse Prevention, myself at Community Voices, Carol Bell of Healthy Aroostook, or Julie Daigle of Power Prevention.